What if your past wasn't a limitation, but the starting point of your purpose? Hi, friends. I'm Brianna Goodwin, and welcome to the Cycle Changer series. This series has been on my heart for a long time. And for years, I've talked about being a cycle changer, which to me is someone who grows in confidence, mindset, relationships, leadership, and faith. Also, the next generation experiences something different, something better. And I realized it's not just my story. There are so many women quietly doing the brave work of healing, raising their deserve levels, breaking patterns, and rewriting what's possible for their families and their future. This series is about giving those women a voice. So if you love real conversations, powerful mindset shifts, growth, and are in need of some inspiration, then you're in the right place. But make sure you subscribe so you don't miss an episode like this, and like this video, and drop a comment loving on these incredible women you're about to hear from. Because when women support women, cycles change. I am so excited to have my friend, my guest, first one, we're figuring it out together, Melinda Bell, who we decided to match and never talk about what we were wearing today, and we're in green. So, Melinda, as we get going, we're going to get to know so much about your life as we go through this chat today. But I just am curious, what does a cycle changer mean to you? When you hear that verbiage, I know that might not be something we talk about every day. What does it bring up for you?
Wow. First of all, it is a new word, like a new sentence to me. Cycle changer. When I think about that, I think of something that's mental. Like a woman goes through so many changes throughout her life, and I guess you could say it's changes through different cycles. And as we get older, things change dramatically. And I've seen me go through different cycles from when I was in my 20s to my 30s, my 40s, my 50s. So when I hear cycle changing, I think I'm changing through the process of living mentally, ideas, the way I think, the way I used to think. Maybe that's my definition of it.
Yeah, I love that. And so I can't even pinpoint how long that we've known each other now. How long would
Mhm.
you say?
Oh, well over 10 years.
Over 10? Yeah, yeah. So we've known each
Mhm.
other a decade, and I'm excited because I feel like I'm about to learn a whole different version of Melinda through this, which is going to be fun. And so I don't think I've even asked you this of, I really want to get a picture for our listeners right now is what is the season of life that you were in before Mary Kay came into your world? If you could kind of give us an idea of what you were doing, maybe how long ago that was, and even maybe, and I'll help you here just to remember, what were your belief systems at that time, or how you thought about yourself, or what you thought was possible for your future?
Well, I was married. My husband and I got married with the thought we're not having no kids. And here we were approaching 10 years of being married. I had just, turned 30 and no kids. I felt like I was living my best life. And I had just made a change from leaving management, like mid management, working for a retail establishment in management, to being my own boss in a business. Like nothing, just a business, because I wanted the freedom and the flexibility to be able to make decisions. I wanted to do more of my Christian ministry, and I didn't want to work for someone. I wanted to work for myself. So prior to Mary Kay, that's where I was, fighting my own
Okay.
day. I tell people all the time, I was doing anything that was legal.
Love it. So, I mean, when you look at the way that you grew up, I mean, some people are like, I had a really great environment. I had no mind drama coming into this. And some people are like, you know what? I didn't really know what was possible for me in my life or even the thought of having your own business. Like you saw the need because you needed more flexibility, it sounds like, to do your ministry work. But I mean, was there something that maybe almost stopped you from saying yes to something like this, or any thought processes you did have that were holding you back?
Girl, let me just say this for the record. I was not going to do Mary Kay. As a
Okay.
matter of fact, so that was never a yes completely for me. Let me explain. So me and my sister-in-law were business partners, and my sister-in-law ended up getting pregnant, and she was pregnant with twins. And what she couldn't do was come back to doing what we were doing. And the twins had a really rough beginning. They were born at 1 pound and 8 ounces and 1 pound and 13 ounces. And they stayed in the hospital for 3 months. And
Wait,
I
these are
was,
your children? These are your
nope,
kids?
they were my niece
Perfect.
and nephew. Hmm.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay,
And but I was second string. I was second mom. I was there for when she found out she was pregnant. Like me and my sister-in-law, like ride or die chicks, like Thelma and Louise. We did everything together, and
okay.
we were gonna have these babies together, right? And so they were there was a lot of health issues, and we would have to drive to the hospital. It was an hour away, but then when they came home, you would think life would get better, but it didn't because it when they were in the hospital, there was someone to do everything. Now
Yeah.
they don't came home, and it's two babies. It's like when one wake up, the other wake up, and she was nursing, and it was like it was crazy. If you think one baby would drive you crazy, imagine two, with that are preemies. And so, when they were about 8 months old, she needed to do something to help supplement the income in her household, and she secretly went behind my back and asked her neighbor, who was Cecilia James, who had done a
No way.
yes, who we had now listen to this. This is crazy. Cecilia had did a skincare class with my sister-in-law, and I was a guest 2 years prior. And she invited us to a Mary Kay meeting, and everybody was like, okay. And when they walked out the door, I'm like, I'm not going nowhere. I'm not going to no Mary, no meeting. You guys, I didn't even wear makeup. I had bad skin. I didn't wear makeup. And so what would have stopped me is self-esteem. That how could I even do this when I look like this and I got blemishes all over my face? Mm. So anyway, she snuck behind my back and asked her neighbor to come and share the facts with her about Mary Kay. Well, I would go over every day to help her. Well, guess what? The day that I was there helping her with the babies, here comes Cecilia James with her 2-year-old. She came in, she had this notebook, she shared the facts with my sister-in-law, and I could see my sister-in-law getting excited. Now remember, she had told me, I don't plan on doing Mary Kay. I just want to hear how she makes her money. However, her thought process was changing as Cecilia was talking, and I was like, I need to nip this in the bud. This is getting out of hand, and I need to stop this. So I was the girl who started saying, well, the market is saturated. She overcame that objection. You can't
Mm,
make any money. She overcame that objection. Like everything negative that I could think of, that's what I said. Because I had to get my sister-in-law out of this. Well,
okay. Okay.
so you see where we're going with this. I was not.
So was Cecilia, because if we go to who she is, for people who may
Hmm.
not know who she is, was she a national sales director at the time or
No. She
no?
was a
Okay.
Cadillac driver,
A
a
Cadillac
senior
driver.
Cadillac driver. Hmm.
Okay.
And Mary Kay. Yep.
Okay. And she's like, you can't make money. And she pulls up in her free car, and you're like, that's not
Yeah,
happening.
and at the time, I don't know if you remember this, but they used to have what we call a notebook, and they would put their commission checks to show that there was real money to be made. And so
Oh
when
my.
she started flipping the notebook, my sister-in-law saw these checks, and her eyes got this, and I was like, oh no, I gotta nip this in the bud. She getting too happy.
Oh my goodness. So, okay, so what if your self-esteem was holding you back and then you were somehow projecting that on your sister-in-law? Because why did you so badly not want her to start? Would that be like, well, she did, I have to, or like that's going to change your relationship in some way? What was, or you just thought you were protecting her? Like, what did you think you were doing?
Well, I wasn't stopping her from doing it. I was preventing her from trying to get me to do it.
You to do it. You're like, you do whatever,
Yes.
but not
You do
me.
whatever you I was like, girl, I'm gonna help you. You know I'm gonna be your number one cheerleader. I'm not doing this. And she goes, yes, you are. And I go, no, I'm not. And it got
Okay.
into like, oh, you're going to do this. And she asked Cecilia for two agreements. And as she asked for that, I literally sat there like this, like, I'm not doing this. Okay. And of course I lost the battle. And here I am, 29
Here
years
you are.
later.
29 years later. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. Okay, okay. So I love it. So really what it sounds like your skin, your self-esteem, you were like, I am not the candidate. I don't know how to do any of this. What right do I have selling a product if this is what this is
Yeah,
about, right? Okay.
absolutely.
So then what made you start then? What like so did your sister-in-law start first and then you watched her for a
Oh
little
no, we
bit?
started on the same day. Tell you we do everything together. She
We
made
do
sure
it.
we was.
Mama and me started on the same day. I'm clear now. Okay.
And so what I wanted to do was pay for the starter kit and get out. So,
Okay.
like I could say, this was me. I could say I tried, it didn't work, it wasn't for me, and I'm out, right? So
Okay.
I wanted to pay, back then the starter kit was $100, and I was like, I'm gonna pay her for that $100 because she put everything on her credit card. She's like, we doing this, and she put my kid and her kid on the credit card, and I'm like, "Psh, let me give her the money for the kid. That way I'm not in it, right?
Okay.
So, uh,
Clean
and
my hands of my responsibility with
yes,
this.
yeah, I'm done. But what I
Yeah.
loved back then about Mary Kay was the training that we received. And the training was you want to set up appointments. And then there was even like I'm gonna say it's gonna date me, but there was VHS where I would watch and rewind, plus play, and
Yeah.
I watched that VHS 10 times. Now listen, this is a real story, real story. Everybody I knew, my sister-in-law knew, because I married her brother and I moved to a different I was in a state where they lived. I lived in a whole nother state. So everybody that were friends with my sister-in-law, they were kind of my associates because she was literally my only friend. So that was another one. I didn't have a lot of friends, right? And
Okay.
so um when I decided that I was gonna do just enough to make that $100 and get out, I called one woman who we didn't know together. I knew her. And I felt like she loved me enough that she would let me borrow her face and I could make $100 because I knew she had some money. Because I rented from her and I knew that I paid her and she had money. Right. And when I called her, I mustered up the courage to call her. And when I called her, the first thing she said was, I'm allergic.
So you're like, shoot, objection already. What did I do? Okay.
Yes. And so
Okay.
then this is what she said. She said, but you know what? My daughter loves makeup and she loves skincare. Call her, she'll help you. And
Okay.
so I did. Okay. So if a person was in my shoes, they would have stopped. Because let me tell you what happened with that really quick. So I knew her daughter, and her daughter was recently married. And I had her daughter's number. And at the time, we didn't have cell phones, we had house phones, right? And so I would call, and every time I called, that new husband of hers was a blocker.
Oh, okay. Okay.
She busy, she outside, she in the bathroom, she can't talk right now. And I was like, you know what? He in my way. But I was smart, at least I thought it was. And she worked at the bank, right? And I said to my little self, pretend you're gonna make a deposit and
Pretend.
go in and meet her, talk to her, and ask. And that's exactly what happened. I walked in. She literally was going to lunch, and she goes, "What are you doing here?" I said, "Well, I'm gonna come clean. I just started teaching skincare with Mary Kay, and I need to practice on faces. And I wanted to ask, could I borrow your face for practice?" And she was like, "Girl, yes." And all I could think of is, I'm gonna make that money and get out. And this is when I really got excited. She goes, I'm gonna invite everybody at the bank. Yes. I'm
Wow.
gonna make enough money to get out and put something in my pocket and walk away.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, so
So that happened. And then what was the shift of I'm only going to do this to pay off my starter kit and maybe have a little extra for just this one time thing? How did we shift from that? What was like, wait a second, what's happening here?
okay, the shift came like this. the day before I was supposed to facial her, she called a cancel. And I don't know where it came from, but I said, okay. And she canceled because nobody was going to show up. And I said, can I just come? Listen, this is key. Can I just come practice on you?
Okay, so she's going to cancel this whole party. No one from the bank was going to say yes, and you're like, hold on, I just need practice.
And she said, sure. You guys, like Bree, I went and I did everything that I was trained to do from the VHS that I taught myself, like I watched. And when I finished, I was so nervous because remember, I didn't know how to wear makeup, and she did. And I just said, here's a catalog. If you want anything, just let me know. And she literally did this. I want everything you put on my face. I said, for real? Seriously? And that night I made $75 profit in less than an hour. And what I was doing in my other quote, me gonna start a business, it would take me 6 hours to do it. And I
Wow.
got very excited and I was like, I did that and the girl didn't know what she was doing. Can you imagine
Mm,
if I had a little bit of training and I knew what I could do, what I could make happen? And that was a turning point for me because I
mm,
started dreaming. I never was a dreamer. I was a
mm,
realist and I lived in reality. And at that
mm.
point, I started dreaming. Girl, one of the dreams, like I'm so in love with my husband, even today after 38 years. And I was like, I'm gonna buy him this. I started dreaming like, what car I'm gonna buy him off of all this money I'm gonna make.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is interesting because you started with saying that you yourself didn't have the self-esteem. You then are like getting kind of rejection or objection after the other of things that could be easily like, you know what, never mind. Like, I got my starter kit, I'm moving on with life, call it a loss. I feel like a lot of women that we come across, no matter if it's a Mary Kay business or something else new that they're going to try, they almost have this mentality that like they have to have the confidence, they have to have the self esteem prior to starting. Like it's just going to magically be there and then they'll be great at it. But what I'm hearing from you is those things did not exist. And it sounded like through the process that changed. So for you, how did you? I mean, I can kind of pick up pieces I'm listening to you, but how did you grow your confidence and your self esteem through the process since you didn't start with it? You didn't even believe in yourself that you were going to do this.
Absolutely not. Let me be very clear about this. Motivation and confidence, you don't start with that. You
Mm,
start with action. And
mm,
I was in action. And my action built my motivation and my confidence. Remember,
mm,
I didn't know anyone, right? So through my action, if I went to the grocery store, my action looked like this. Can I give you to the person that was checking me out? May I give you my card? I was still shy.
mm,
And in Mary Kay, I was like, you like Mary Kay? Let's get together. So that literally, like when people say, I don't know anybody, I didn't. My family lived in South Carolina. They lived 2 hours away. And let me tell you, I didn't come from a family that wore foundation,
mm,
lipstick, eyeshadow. When I came into Mary Kay, I didn't know how to put on foundation or eyeshadow.
mm.
And let me tell you what's really funny. This is gonna make everybody like fall out. I wore a lipstick from a company. It was called Chocolate Raspberry, and I lined my lips with the same thing I line my eyes with, black eyeliner.
I love that. When
No,
people
mess, mess express.
I love it. So you didn't fit the typical mold of what it would look like to be in a beauty company. You had no past training of any of that. And I'm like even comparing because you said 29 years ago. We live in a whole different world nowadays of access even to how our training is. Even social media of being able to meet people that we have access so much faster for those who are like
Yes,
shy, who may
yeah.
not want to like go meet people out. But you
Mhm.
were doing it in a time that I think was harder than it is
Oh, girl,
today,
yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
Listen, I was in the dinosaur area. I was when you had, you know how. Okay, let me just compare it now. You guys. think about this. If you ever watched the Flintstones, and when Fred and Barney went to work, some of you don't even know what I'm talking about. They feet was the gas. And now we have a Tesla. So think about this.
Mm,
I came during the Flintstones, right? And now it's so much easier because now you in a Tesla driving this business. It's like way different and so much more faster and so much more
mhm,
fun and so much more techy. You got
mhm.
everything. There is nothing right now that a person could not use the tools that are given and be totally successful.
Totally. And what I love what you said, I was like, that's a quote we're going to really come back to, is you were saying that you don't start with motivation and confidence. You
Mhm.
start with action, that through that action, it built the motivation and
Absolutely.
confidence.
And the
Okay.
confidence.
I love that. So, okay, so we saw where the shift started. You got a little win. You decided to
Mhm.
take that action and we're like, wait a stinking second here. Sometimes that just takes that when we actually did it and we have the money in our hands and then we start comparing the time and energy it took it to make that somewhere else versus here. I know that was the light bulb for me. Like, if I put a little bit more intention in this, what could it be?
Mhm.
And so then as okay, so that was just the shift that you're like, okay, I'm going to actually keep doing this. But now where was some of the shifts that you started to see the inside job truly change on you where you were like, wait a second, I want more than even a little extra income in this? Because I mean, if you've been doing this for 29 years, this is your only career. How did we get from A to Z with that shift?
Yeah. So let me be honest and transparent. In this business, you have the highs and the lows, right? You got the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I done been through it all. And I'm still standing. And what I say with true confidence is that I started this business without kids. I did this business with kids. I also did this business as a caregiver. I also have done this business like when I the benefits that being this business has given me far outweighs anything that I've ever had, any low that I've ever been in. And let me just be very clear. I went through a time in my life in 15, 16, and 17 where all of the people that I love were sick and dying.
Hmm.
My husband and grandmother, who lived with us for 28 years, she died in 15. The beauty of my Mary Kay business, it allowed me to be there for everything, to do for
Hmm.
her, to she raised my husband. The gift that we could give her is to give back, right? And
Hmm.
then that next year, my mother got very sick. Like a year to the date, she went into the hospital for 10 days.
Wow.
I If I was working for someone else, they would never have understood what I needed the time to be with my husband's grandmother, who was my grandmother too. They would never understand a year later that your mother is in the hospital and now you want 10 days off and you want to drive back and forth to South Carolina and you want to be there when she wake up and you want to bathe her and you want to take care of her when you got a job. And then 17 comes. And in 17, the month of May, again, like what we doing up here in May. My father goes into the hospital and he never comes out.
Wow.
And in the process, I was like, I had worked where now it was taking care of me when I could not. And there
Mhm.
was a lot of life happening. My daughter was graduating from high school. My niece was graduating from high school. Had a niece graduating from college. I got a father dying. And
Mm.
I could be all things to all of my family because Mary Kay set me up that when that was the transition, that's when I realized that all of the time that I was saying, put this on, take this off, I was building something that was going to take care of me when I couldn't continue to build. And I will say this, those months, that I took care of, that I was able to put God first and family second. It's true. When you have your priorities, now people say, I need balance. Balance is taking care of what's important at the time that it needs to be seen. It ain't 8 hours taking care of family, 8 hours spiritually, 8 hours working. It don't look like that. Balance looks totally different to me. Balance to me looks like, girl, take care of your family. A girl, do your spiritual life. A girl, handle your business in Mary Kay. In different times of the year, my balance is focused on what's important, what's needed right then and there. And Mary Kay taught me that I could be a woman and have everything that I need and not make any sacrifices.
Mm,
That's
wow.
what I need.
So, and so many people will say, well, I can't do this because I have to take care of my kids or my family members or everyone needs me. And so they almost put themselves on the back burner, but don't realize how putting themselves to do something like this actually allows them to have more time, money, or energy to help those people that need them,
Mm.
right? Or and when we go back to those times, I can imagine your energetic capacity, I'm sure you had days of grief, of being exhausted,
Absolutely.
of just, going, oh my goodness, but I always say choose your heart. So it's like, would you rather be able to choose your schedule doing this, where you go pop in for a couple of hours and work and then get to design the rest of your day? Or could you imagine going through all the things Melinda just said and going, well, I have to go clock in for 8 hours to someone else's dream and like be exhausted for them, and not have the time? I mean, how much time you would have lost with those people that you love. And I feel
Hmm.
like that's what everybody wants. Now, were there any skills that, because that just really highlighted the freedom and the flexibility, of
Hmm.
what this can do. Were there any skills, we talked about like that immediate, you built your confidence with, some extra income, but was there anything that you're like, who am I? Who's the person I'm becoming? Like, if you were to look at yourself when you started to now, like what areas have you grown emotionally in your life?
Emotionally, people always say, I'm a better mother, I'm a better wife, I'm a better sister, I'm better at everything.
Mm,
But what I'm most best at is me. Because
mm,
in the process of building this business in Mary Kay, I had some losses and I had some lots of wins. And the
mhm,
wins built my self-esteem. The wins made me confident. I can talk in front of 500 people and not even blink. I can woo
mhm,
a crowd. I can say, a lot of that came from my spiritual training, but my
mhm,
spiritual training like went into my business training, and both iron sharpened iron. I was sharpened, and not to be egotistical or nothing like that. It's confidence.
mm,
It is confidence that I can talk to anybody. And I'm confident that if what I've been through, that I can show other women, you can have whatever you want. You can bring your husband home. When life in corporate America steals and kills a dream, you can be a dream changer. Right?
mm,
You can come in like during COVID when everybody else was frantic. Like, what are we gonna do? How are we gonna work? What girl, I was sitting in my office right here, what you see, saying, put this on, take this off. How did your face feel?
yeah.
Cha-ching, cha-ching. Having
Ch-ch.
fun. Cha-ching, cha-ching, talking to everybody all over the US, making
Mhm,
connections, building lives, changing lives, building lasting friendships. And for me, that's important because I love people.
mm. Now, you mentioned that this changed you in your personal life. So, obviously, and you had a lot of wins. So, I want to give a couple pictures of that. Um, I mean, if we go back to 29 years ago, you're like, I just want basically enough money to cover my starter kit. I don't want anything to do with this.
Mm.
To then working this through these seasons of life and had a lot of wins. Of course, the Cycle Changer series is about how it affected the inside and the outside in your mission. But here's the deal, that comes out financially and in actual material things that you've gotten through this company. So, what were some of your favorite wins that people would be like, wait, what? We went from one party to make an extra $75 to this was the outcome? Like, what does that look like?
It looked like 16 earned cars.
Did you say 15?
16.
Oh, I'm sorry. 16. 16 free cars. Okay, earn cars. I love it. Okay,
16 earned
okay.
cars. Let me tell
Earn.
you though something. Um, Income, like giving my daughter a lifestyle, giving my kids a lifestyle. Um, that I don't have a college degree. I make executive income though, right?
Mhm.
I have a sister who has a master's, a sister who has a doctorate, and then here was me, the middle child. I was the one that my father said to me when I said I'm going to become a consultant with Mary Kay. He said, "You'll never earn any money selling lipstick. Go do real estate."
Mm,
And I didn't listen to my father.
mm,
I stayed with the lipstick. Diamonds. I can't tell you, like the joy of the heart, giving my husband $1,000 gift card from being a star consultant, going and buying a 75-inch big screen TV. Material things don't mean nothing to us. We don't care about that. But when you don't care and you got it and you have it, don't enjoy it. But let me tell you the one lesson that has been learned through all of this was my children.
mm,
I taught my children how to dream. I taught my
mm,
children how to set goals, and I taught my children how you may not reach a goal and then how you may make a goal. And my son, I remember he wanted a snake. Oh my goodness. Every time I turned around, he was like, "Mama, can I have a snake? Can I have a snake? Can I have a snake?" And I was like, "No, no, no." And it was an everyday conversation. If you have a child that's tenacious about what they want, they are like a bulldog. They bite in and they don't let up. So you know what I said to him one day? Because I was driving cars, like, but never a cat. Like I said, when I earn a Cadillac from Mary Kay, you can have a snake. Oh my
enroll.
goodness. What was I thinking? Girl, like that, he became 1000% vested in me earning a Cadillac. And I
Wow.
remember when we were earning the Cadillac for the first time, and it was looking weary, but I had learned how to project vision. I had all the things on my tracking, on my bathroom mirror. Everything was like hot and popping. And on the last day that we were finishing, I was a I was a long way from the goal. And my team was in the house and we were working, working, working. And I'd go upstairs and go in the closet, go, I can't do it, I can't do it. And come back down, fix my face. And he was watching. And when I went up for the last time to change the numbers, he had erased everything on my mirror. Everything that I had been tracking for over the month was gone. He had put the new vision up. He had drew pictures of us with the Cadillac on my mirror saying, "We're so proud of you. It's done. You're finished." You guys, he was 9.
Wow. Oh, hold on. It said, wait, Melinda's Bell's recording has stopped. Oops, are you there? You're back.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
I think it's working. Go ahead.
What 9-year-old do you know how to do that? He was watching. He had been watching me. My kids watch me. They watch me lose. They watch me win. And you guys, we finished that Cadillac. And yes, he got that snake.
you're you're an amazing mom because I don't know if I would have said
Girl, listen, let me be real clear. It took me a couple, like we earn a car every 2 years. Well, he had to earn that cat. He had to earn that snake 2 years late because he didn't get it right away. I was like, oh my goodness.
I
But
can
he
have
made
that
me
same
keep my word.
and that is a true epitome right there, I believe, of being a cycle changer. Because when you are a more confident mom, when you are more tenacious, when you go after your dreams, when you're willing to think bigger, moms get so caught up in this is going to take time away from their children, or will this make them a bad mom for putting this forward, versus it is not what is taught, it is what's caught. And
Mhm.
so them watching and seeing this, I can tell you, and I have stories of that with my own son who's 11, that
Mm-hmm.
they're constantly going after things, the confidence that they have. So this is now affecting the next generation. This is going to affect how they parent their children.
Mm-hmm.
This is going to affect the jobs they choose. This is going to affect believing that they're
Mm-hmm.
allowed to go after things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that is amazing. So, I mean, obviously you've taught them that. I mean, you got to have your time with them. Um, I mean, would there be anything, I guess, else that you would add of like, did it do anything that it changed something, in your marriage that you learned from this or allowed you to have, or in your community? Like, is there any pieces in there that it made an impact on?
Well, the fact that Mary Kay brought my husband home drew us
Oh.
closer, right? Well, like everywhere I go, he go. Like we ride together. I go see my mom once a week. It's an hour and 45 minutes from my front door to her front door. My husband goes with me. We travel. I take him to my Mary Kay events, like the fun, the bun, all of the things, And we're at an age now that our kids they're grown. My son is about to get married. My daughter is traveling all over the place. Now it's us. And now we live in our best life because it's just he and I, we're doing our thing. And Mary Kay, my kids, they were born into this. They were
Mm,
born into Mary Kay. Like when I came in, I didn't have they didn't I didn't have kids. And here I am, 29 years later. My daughter's 26. Um, 29 years later, I'm still here and I'm
mm,
still building. I'm still having fun and I'm
mm,
still learning. I'm still
mm.
coaching. I'm still training and I'm still inspiring women.
So you said you brought your husband home. Does that mean that you have been he retired and he came home? Tell me what you mean by that he's been able to be home with you.
So, corporate America do a number. You can give corporate America your all. And when there's changes to be made, changes. And he decided that while they were making changes, because of my Mary Kay business, that it was a time for him to have a change.
Mm.
And so when the opportunity presented itself, he was like, hey, town down, I'm out. Right? I'm going to come home and I'm going to do my own thing. I'm going to work for myself. 28 years he gave his life or, his all to build another company's dream. And now he is home building his own.
Wow.
With,
And because you had the financial wiggle room to do that, it gave
mhm,
him the choice to go after
yes,
something he loved that he could have
right.
control over. So
That's
because
correct.
you chose to dream 29 years ago, not knowing what might happen with that,
Hmm.
when we talk about this changes the choices other people get to make. I mean, this changed the entire trajectory of how you guys live your life and spend your time and get to have that, a lot of people, I go back to what you were just saying, is your kids are out of the house. How many people are living two separate lives, just their time they don't own? They're like two ships passing in the night in a marriage. They're really stressed out, and then their kids move out and they're like, what's our purpose? Do we even know each other? And
Well,
yeah, go ahead.
my kids are still in the house.
Oh, they still one's going soon if he's
And
married.
still with me, I wouldn't leave either. But my son is getting ready to get married. But let me just say this. I think this is very important. During the time that my son was growing from 12 to 13 to 15 to 16 to 18 and 17, guess who was in his life?
Mm,
His father,
mm,
because his father was here.
mm.
I wouldn't change nothing.
Oh, we lost you for a second. Hold on. It's loading back up. Okay, it's okay. You wouldn't change anything. Go ahead.
I wouldn't change anything because it allowed my business, allowed my husband to be here with our son and to be there and to help mold him and train him and develop him into a man he has turned out to be an amazing young man, and he's going to make someone an amazing husband because my husband wasn't making someone else rich. He was here enriching the life of our son and our daughter. You know, you
Mhm.
know, they is what they have, you can't put a price on it. And a lot of people
Mm-mm.
sacrifice it because they have to work.
Mm-mm.
And everybody's life isn't like this. It just happened this way for us.
Yeah. Wow. Wow. That is huge. So we got to kind of hear you've been through so many different seasons of your life in this.
Mhm.
You're even kind of going into a new one if the kids are getting older. You're
Oh
about to
yeah.
go into one, right?
Mhm.
And we really got to hear about that flexibility. So, okay, if you and I mean obviously we're getting a picture, but if we could kind of sum it up, if you wouldn't have said yes to this back then, when you were not ready, when you didn't have the skills, when you didn't have the confidence, when you didn't even think that this was for you or wear a stitch of makeup, how would your life look differently today?
I don't even want to think about it. I don't even want, like, I don't it would not be this. It would not be the freedom and the flexibility. It would not be to be there for my mom. I have two other sisters and we all are there, but I get to share and doing my part. You know, I wouldn't change nothing. And I'm going to say this. Some of you, when you were in high school in your last year, in your senior year, some of you get a book and you write down, where do you see yourself in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, right? And every time you write that, you write what your dream life would look like, right? I
Yeah.
see myself 20 years from now doing this, or 30 years from now doing that. And it's always a dream life. It's never nothing bad. I'm living that dream.
Wow.
I'm living my dream life when I was 17 years old that I wrote in the book where I see myself. I saw myself happily married. I saw myself in a beautiful home. I saw myself with two kids and a dog.
We didn't
That's
talk
my
about your
life.
dog. You get all the time with your dog too.
Yes. That's my life, right?
Yeah. So who, as we close this episode, tell me, what is your mission now? I mean, this has gotten you through these different pieces of life, but like we want to know, where is Melinda going? What is your mission with this? Who are you looking for? How can we cheer you on in your, next phase of your business?
It's funny you should ask that because we didn't plan this. Like, we didn't rehearse this.
We
This
didn't
is
talk
right
at
off
all.
the cuff. Around 11 o'clock, I was sitting in my car because I had just come from the hairstylist and I had made a stop. And I,
Today?
today,
Okay. Okay. I'm here for
today,
it. Okay.
and I was filling out this thing that needed my bio. And my bio, it said, I've been building my business for 29 years in this company. I'm married. I'm a mother to Ashley and Stacy, a wife to Stacy. And my mission is to enrich and take women, like bring women up, give them confidence, give them like passion. Give them everything that a woman needs to feel beautiful on the inside and out. The everything that a woman needs to feel amazing. I really do truly honestly believe that Mary Kay can that not Mary Kay itself, but the skills and the knowledge and the training, the things that you develop in a company such as this molds you to be the woman that most people admire. I want to find women who are ready to be admired. Not that they got to feel that, oh, everybody look at me. No, it's not that. It's me looking in the mirror and being totally happy with who I see. That's
Mhm.
the joy. That's something that you can't put a price on, but it's the gift that you can give someone that they're going to, that's a generational gift. It just keeps giving and giving and giving. And when a woman is happy, people enjoy being around her.
That's the
When
truth.
she is not, people want to distance themselves. I want to build women where everybody want to be happy. I just
Mm.
love women. I I love seeing women win, and my greatest joy is seeing them fulfilling their best self, even when someone look at them and say they would never amount to anything or they'd never be anyone, or even if they tell themselves, I could never do this. This is where you can plant a dream in your heart and it can be developed. And remember, it's not going to start with motivation, it's not going to start with confidence. It's going to come through action.
I love that. I love that. And that was really going to be my last question is what advice would you give? And it is literally that, right? It's getting out of the decision fatigue. It's getting out of the timing is going to be perfect. It's going to get out of, would I be good at this? I feel like all those questions take actually so much energy that what if we shifted it? What if you had started even in the beginning of how much faster would you be of like, what could this do for me? What if you dreamed a little bit faster? I mean, you have an amazing life, an amazing story, and look at how that amplified when we went into that lane of thinking versus the worried about all the things that are wrong with us. And so
Mhm.
that's where our missions are so aligned is I don't want women to be constantly questioning themselves and living in doubt and not having choices and feeling frustrated and exhausted and stressed and tired and it's like we get to look at our schedules when we've been talking this week and be like, I don't know when works for you, and we'll just kind of design it around our life and pop it in. And I love having those choices. And even like we said, we live really far apart. I live in California and you live in
Georgia.
Georgia. That's what I thought I was going to say Atlanta, but you're not in Atlanta, but where
Well,
are you?
I'm outside of Atlanta. I'm on the outskirts of Atlanta in Gainesville. Mhm.
Yeah. And we are connected in more areas of our life than just Mary Kay, but like still, you guys, we just got back from a leadership conference and to be in an environment where all of a sudden we can see each other across a room and be like, oh my gosh, and just run and hug each other and be like, hey, what's going on in your life right now? Let me cheer you on. You all deserve to be in an environment like that. And it might look uncomfortable at first. And I'm sure it wasn't completely something you were even used to when you started,
Oh, but
but look who you became in that process because you just chose to start allowing each little stacked on win to build that confidence. And you had the mentorship and all those things. And now we don't have to do it on a VHS tape. We
oh,
can
oh,
do it.
yeah. Like, like if I had the tools that Mary Kay had today, again, I would not have been Flintstone in it. I would have been doing it in a Tesla, just doing it in a fast
I
car.
love the
But
Tesla.
an electric car, let's just say
Totally
an
myself.
electric car.
I
Yeah.
love it. Well, Melinda, I want to thank you for being willing to be the dreamer in your life, for being the one who gets to be an example of how you can truly be a caretaker and how you do not have to choose between a business and your priorities. I know that you and your husband Stacy too are very active in your spiritual life and that you're able to also do that as well. Thank you again. I just have to say it again because this is going to be like your new trademark of like, it does not start with motivation or confidence. It starts with action But I love that you said you built something when you were with women every day that eventually was going to take care of you when you couldn't. And that is beyond beautiful because sometimes we're thinking in the now and not the 5 years from now or the 10 years from now of what we need this to do for us. And it is such a joy to watch that you are still just as inspired, maybe not if more than the day you started. And to feel that way after 29 years, you guys, to love what you do and feel that you can feel that energy. Oh my gosh, people who've been doing something for 30 years don't wake up with a pep in their step like that normally. So,
Yes. Facts. Facts.
right?
Yeah.
Well, Melinda, thank you again for being our first guest. I know people are just going to really relate to your story and be so inspired. And is there any final things that you would be excited to just cheer somebody on if this was something they were looking at?
If you were in the crossroads of having to make a decision, like, do I do it or do I wait? Listen, I've seen people in the middle of the cold, like run and jump in water, and they say it's the most exhilarating thing they've ever done. Now,
Mm,
will I do that? No, but I did run and jump in Mary Kay, and it's been exhilarating. It's been fun.
mm,
It's been thrilling, and yeah, it has been better than doing anything else. Like many people, when you're good in something, everybody wants to offer you another opportunity, you another this and you another that, right? And I've always been able to say I am so happy with what I do
mm,
because I don't want to be that rabbit, like, or the squirrel in here and squirrel in there. I just want to stay focused, but
mm.
just do it, like, just do it one time. If you've never done something, if you never taken a chance, if you, I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen? You're going to learn something and you're going to
Yeah.
gain something. And it might be something that'll last you 29 years plus.
Wow.
Mm.
Well, I think that was a perfect ending. And remember, to those who are listening, no matter where you've come from, you have the power to change the direction of your life, and you can be a cycle changer too. So, bye everyone. Thanks for jumping on.